sustainably successful guy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always sort of the dominating theme around a lot of the documentaries that are coming out at the moment. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you also had a webinar or sort of an online thing that you did last week regarding teaming in these scenarios or situations or something like that, teaming around these times. What was your sort of idea with that? What message were you trying to get across?
Teaming in these times. That teaming is like a muscle, and it needs to be exercised and worked intentionally on. So, I did a workshop recently with a company, and I asked them, how many teams are you part of at the moment? And the one lady's answer was 13. So, if you look at yourself, you're part of the hockey team, but you're also part of a management team, and then you're also part of a system. So that's 3, and you might be part of another team, which is like a research team. So you alone might be part of 4 teams. Yeah. Now we need to understand how can we do that? And obviously in these times when we're all apart, we're not sitting having meetings together. Yeah, sure. But how can we exercise that muscle? So I've got a simple model around teaming with a lot of ideas and concepts. One of them I said, like the dance, not the dancers, understanding the different levels of interdependence that exist in a team, and just giving a simple model that in any given team, these are 6 areas that I can leverage to make us more effective.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, interesting. I was thinking now, well, especially during these sort of times, it's obviously everyone's exercising like crazy, and guys are able to still do their push-ups and squats and gym and run and sort of stuff. But what sort of advice would you give to guys in terms of trying to develop their mental conditioning?
A good question. Little things like being mindful, being conscious of my emotional states, what's triggering me. That's as I can do that anytime. I was talking to some cricketers today, and I said, so something as trivial as a fight with your girlfriend raises emotion, raises the pressure level. Maybe I can just journal and like what happened to me in that space, what triggered me, why did I react in that way. That's exactly the same as not exactly the same, but it's similar emotions that might be triggered playing in the 75th minute of a hockey match. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I think awareness of self, what triggers me, and just diarizing and journaling that. I would say some sort of visualization stuff would be useful. What do I look and feel like when I'm in flow, when things are really working for me, and just putting that movie on repeat, spending a couple of minutes every day, just keeping myself, I'm a hockey player, which you're involved in, just visualizing myself running down the touchline or drag flicking or whatever it might be, and just getting some specifics of that in my mind, because there's a huge amount of research that shows the power of visualization that you can do. Yeah. And then I would say thirdly, that what you can do is, I'm seeing this time, interestingly, Aki, I'm not seeing it so much as I've got to set this goal, because we don't know, like the goalposts have got mist in front of them at the moment. We don't even know where the goalposts are, because we don't know when we're going to play again.
Yeah.
So almost for me, your goal at the moment is momentum. So create momentum in something. We are momentum machines. So, whatever it might be, just try and create some momentum around something. I think that'll catapult you into whatever the next iteration of our sport looks like.
Cool. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how everyone sort of reacts, I think, when things do kick off again.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows. I mean, I don't know how you're feeling, experiencing, but I don't think any of us know what it's going to be like, what it's going to, how we're going to feel, and all of that. So really all we can do at the moment is, build momentum.
Yeah. You mentioned a little bit earlier the fact that you've moved into more of a technical coaching role. So it's an interesting transition, because you've traditionally been more of a support staff role, but now you've moved into the actual head coach role. Firstly, why that transition, and also how have you found it?
Cool. I mean, I still do the performance coaching stuff a lot. That's still my core business. Obviously, coaching, I coach UCT, Ike Tigers. It's not a full-time job, although it's a lot of time. But it's not a full-time job.
Yeah.
Why? Arky, quite simple. I have had and do have a burning desire to lead a system. and not just be the advisor.
Yeah.
So it was a real personal desire to do that. I'm obviously massively passionate about UCT and the Ike Tigers, and felt that I could play a role. It happened a little bit by chance, but I would be lying if I said I didn't at some stage in my head think, oh, I'd love to do that role. So yeah, my desire to lead a system and hopefully play a role through my skill set with where the system is at the moment, it probably led to me doing it. And then the second part of your question, how have I found it? Oh, it's a joyride, eh? It is massively intense, very stressful, like all consuming, and flipping awesome. You know me, I'm a pretty emotional guy, and I'm wildly competitive as well. So, you want to win and you want to do well and you put everything into it. But I was just saying to someone today, like we haven't played now for 5 weeks, but the energy in our coaching group and our playing group is so high, and I'm loving the interactions and the innovations and the experimenting and the thinking that's going into how can we be better. I mean, it's to be honest, it's quite inspiring, So I'm really loving it. Yeah, I'm not sure how long I'll do it for. They might boot me out sooner rather than later, but it's a great experiment at the moment for me.
Well, I mean, you've started pretty well, so I don't think they're going to boot you out anytime soon.
Oh, as well as I do, sport can change quickly. Yeah.
I think it's quite an interesting thing because, someone like Paddy Upton has done something similar in terms of going from that high performance coaching role into an actual head coach role, and I think it's almost better because you've got an understanding of how to bring that group together, and then you just employ people around you that are actual experts in terms of the specific positional coaching. But I think as a head coach, if you can manage the group of coaches you've got and make sure that everyone's working together better than anyone else, you're probably on a better path.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to say. Paddy was interesting because Paddy's philosophy, cricket, rugby, different sports, but Paddy's philosophy was he didn't want any assistant coaches. So Paddy's whole thing was, I want to use the collective intelligence of the room with the players. I'm different to that. Like I actually love a group of coaches, and my thing is how do we, as you say, like get them all working together. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't take some inspiration from Paddy. As a guy who went from the one role, and Paddy would overtly say it, like he's not passionate about cricket. Now, I do love rugby, but there are people that love rugby more than I do. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't try and get into a debate around who loves rugby the most, but I'll get into a debate as to who loves being part of a team and trying to reach a goal together. I'd say I'm up there in that space.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got so much to learn. It's actually amazing when I think back to all the mistakes I've made over the last 6 or 7 months. But yeah, what an awesome. I'm very grateful actually for the opportunity that I've been given.
Yeah, sure. And anything that because I mean, in your role as a high performance coach, you work a lot with the actual